Hey guys, welcome back. Thanks for joining me for another video. If you are new to my channel, my name is Stephanie. I'm a life and relationship coach. This week I want to talk about self-empowerment because when you are getting out of a relationship, you're dealing with a breakup, going through a divorce, dealing with a narcissistically abusive relationship, or whatever it is that you're going through, even regardless of relationship, self-empowerment is something that we all need in order for us to, number one, feel good about ourselves, and number two, achieve our goals. So I want to talk about self-empowerment, how to get more of it, and give you some really easy steps that you can begin, or tools or skills or strategies, whatever word you want to use, that you can begin to practice every single day that will help you to gain more self-empowerment. Now, before we do get into this week's video, if you have not already subscribed to this channel, don't forget to click on the subscribe button down below. I can't believe we're almost at 500,000 subscribers. That's crazy. Thank you guys so much for all of your love and support, and I'm so glad that these videos are helping to change lives. They're helping you guys, and I get such wonderful, wonderful comments and messages from you guys. So I'm so happy with what I'm doing, and I love this channel, and I'm glad to be here. So let's talk about self-empowerment. Let's go into just the basics. What is self-empowerment? Self-empowerment is the ability to believe in yourself enough for you to actually achieve your goals. So for you to believe in your capabilities, your strengths, understand your weaknesses, know what your talents are, know what your interests are, that means that you're the person that has a goal in mind and you see it and you have enough feelings or determination in your own self that you can actually achieve that goal. So now that doesn't mean that this has to be a crazy goal that we're trying to achieve. It could be something really small, it could be something really big, but your level of self-empowerment has to do with a lot of things. It has to do with your inner dialogue, it has to do with your basically your self-worth. How worthy are you to go after something that you really want in your life? Now, when you're coming out of really toxic relationships, you're rebuilding yourself. You're really working on that self-confidence. You're probably working on that self-worth. A lot of being able to have a high level of self-worth before you can even feel empowered to do something, you had to have really reprogrammed your mind and healed a lot of your wounds and triggers from your past, whether that's the past relationship you were just in, or if you go way deep into the beginning with mom and dad and childhood, but you really have had to have healed a lot of that stuff for you to feel a sense of belief or worthiness that you deserve what it is that you're going after. Because if you really don't believe, and most people they don't understand that they don't have a lot of self-worth. They don't understand that their blueprint or their inner dialogue really is saying, I'm not worthy of this. I'm not worthy of this, because they don't see how they're essentially sabotaging themselves. They don't see how what it is that they're going after, they're really lowering the bar, because what it is that they truly want, they don't think that they could actually get it, which has a lot to do with your self-worth. So your ability to make good decisions, or just quite frankly to make any decisions sometimes, and go after something that you truly desire, you have to have a lot of confidence in yourself. You have to have a good sense of self-esteem. You have to really have worked on your self-worth. You know, when we say these words, confidence, self-esteem, self-worth, self-empowerment, I feel like people don't really understand what each individual word means. They kind of just lump it all together. And so I always want to break down what each thing actually is. And before you can have self-empowerment, you can't have it if you don't have confidence. You can't have self-empowerment if you don't deem yourself worthy. So there are a lot of steps that you're doing when you are rebuilding or working on yourself that you have to do daily in order for you to build up the kind of muscle, that inner muscle, to really have a great sense of self-empowerment. So you can actually go after the things that you really want in your life. Now, there are going to be a couple different things that you can begin working on. Some are going to be really easy things that you can work on daily, and other things are going to take a little bit more time. And so I want to give you these things, and you can kind of figure out where you're at with your journey and what you would like to start focusing on now. And then you can dive into that one thing that perhaps you're not really that good at, or you haven't really ventured in. The first thing is going to be get clear on what it is that you want. I say this all the time. One of the first things that I even say with any of my coaching sessions is, what are you looking to get out of this session? So there has to be a clear indicator of what it is that you want to get out of something, or what is it that you want for your life? What is it in all areas of life? And we have all these areas of life, whether it's our financial life, our health, our friendships, our romantic life, our family life, our home life, our careers, hobbies, social life. Like there's so many different areas of our lives. And at any point in time, I've said this numerous times in videos, at every point in your life, there's going to be areas of your life that you're really trying to work on. So right now, maybe your home life is completely fine. You're not looking to move. You love where you live. You're good to go. You have finally found that amazing apartment that you've always been working towards. Now you finally have it. But your romantic life, it's really not that great. Or maybe your romantic life is really good, but you know, like your social circle and you like keeping in touch with friends and like making it a point to like leave that relationship and go hang out with your girls or go play basketball with your buddies or whatever that looks like. That's an area that you're trying to work on. And for most people, there's going to be multiple areas that we're working on. So usually for us to feel good about life, there's going to be about 2, maybe 3 areas of life that we're trying to work on. And the rest is absolutely fine. Where life really starts to get hard and where sometimes people kind of sit in a little bit of depression or they're really stressed about their life is when more than 2 or 3 areas of life really need work. So if you're coming out of a relationship or going through a divorce or something like that, chances are there's going to be a multitude of areas that you're trying to work on. Maybe you need to sell your house. Now you're leaving a relationship. Money is going to play a factor. So there's going to be a lot of different areas of life, and this is sometimes where the stress of life really begins. So getting clear on what you want means I know exactly the goal that I'm working towards, and I know I know the specifics of the goal. So often people set goals for themselves and they're very vague. I want more money. I want to move. I want a relationship. That's a very, very vague goal. If I said, I'm a genie and I can give you 3 wishes, but you have to be completely detailed on exactly what it is that you want. If you know, yes, I can have these 3 wishes and I don't have to do any work, you're going to tell me to a T what it is that you really want for yourself. So make sure that when you always set goals for yourself, that you're very clear on what it is that you're looking for. So the next thing is probably going to take a little bit more work, just a heads up. So the next thing is going to be, you have to heal your wounds. So the ability to feel empowered, like I said, comes from self-esteem, self-confidence, and a high level of self-worth. Now, if your inner dialogue and that inner tape and that relationship that you have with yourself is not good, then you're not going to deem yourself worthy in order to get this goal that it is that you want for your life. Or if you don't deem yourself worthy, then chances are the goal that you wanted for your life, I would like a relationship, you probably kind of dumb that goal down and you lowered the bar because that's what you think you're worthy of, because maybe that's what life's always shown you, or maybe through just your programming, you deemed that, look, this is what relationships are like you're being way too picky, you're asking for way too much. So the program has always been something different. And so now you're fighting that old program with maybe the reality of the fact that look, I actually haven't even met anyone. And when I do meet someone, they're completely ridiculous. I always meet these jerks, or no one wants a commitment, or there are no good looking people in my town, or whatever that story is that you keep telling yourself. So in order to feel self-empowered, to really move towards something, you have to believe that it exists. You have to believe it's out there. You have to believe you're going to get it. And that ability to know that you are going to get something is an affirmation that you tell yourself that builds up your self-worth. So when we talk about healing, what we're really doing is looking at a multitude of areas. We're looking at what is our inner dialogue? What are the things that we're really afraid of? When we really set those goals, are we setting them high enough, or are we kind of lowering the bar because we're scared? We're scared to be disappointed. So, essentially that's why I created my 9-week course, and I will link that up here if you guys are interested in taking a look. But it's a huge thing. You really can't create anything in your life if you haven't worked on yourself, if you haven't healed from your past, if you haven't reprogrammed that tape. You're not really going to be able to achieve the things that you want for your life. You might be able to kind of go maybe even halfway or maybe a quarter, and you might be able to do some really, really good stuff and good work. But when things get really hard and the goal still isn't achieved, your ability to fight through your fears, your insecurities in order to keep going, that takes a certain level of not just confidence, but that takes a certain level of rising up amongst like all the stuff that you've been through, all of the programming, all of the bad relationships and mom and dad and like everything that I've been through in my entire life, all the programming, everything that I've ever seen. I have to be able to see that, heal that inner child, and then rise above that. And in order to rise above that, you have to reprogram yourself. And that takes literally consistency, patience, and you doing the same thing all the time so you can really start creating and building a brand new muscle that you've never had before. So that's why healing is so important. And I don't think people put enough of an emphasis on the fact that you can't go out and want anything for your life, a great relationship. I want to make $1 million. I want to start my own business, whatever. I want like an amazing body. Everything in life is like 20% skill, talent, all of those things, taking action. A huge part of life is mental. And so being able to like take control of this and learn how to do that and practice doing it and being consistent and learning how to parent yourself, that's the only thing that's really going to ever help you in life. Essentially, that's mental health. I talk a lot on this channel about kind of like a growth mindset. And I think that that's really important because when you look at the course of our lives, life is about growth. It's about change and it's about growth and it's about being uncomfortable and it's about, getting to like the next level in your journey. Who I am today is not who I was when I was 20. Wasn't who I was when I was 6. It wasn't who I was at like 34. So growing and going through experiences is the only way that you can actually build confidence in yourself to achieve things. So if you're looking at a person that's a little bit older, and age doesn't really have too much to do with it, but it does in the sense that you've had a lot of life experience that has either built that internal muscle in you, a good healthy muscle, or it could actually just kind of keep reinforcing fear and lack and worry and stress and insecurity and life is hard and nothing good ever happens to me. So you actually get to choose that, and that's really what free will is. But a growth mindset is the ability to want more for yourself and stretch yourself out of your comfort zone continuously. The only way to have that type of mindset so you can learn more, stretch yourself in other areas of life and push yourself, because that ability to push yourself and grow is what is essentially going to build confidence. There is a huge part, and I'm going to kind of connect these two. There's a huge part of being healthy that has to do with your inner dialogue in terms of affirmations. I always talk about this. I always tell you guys do your affirmations. It's a huge part of mental health because you're essentially trying to reprogram something, and you can't fix and reprogram something and create a different tape in there if nothing's there. And right now, you're probably not in the mindset to be able to feed that part of you so it can grow and feel stronger and be healthier. So right now you just know how to feed this dysfunction over here, this like negative self-talk, fear, lack, worry, stress, etc. But you have to be able to acknowledge when the fear, stress, worry, anxiety, insecurities come up, because that part of you that's coming up is actually just your inner child or it's your ego. It's one of two areas, and those two areas are the areas that don't feel good about it yourself, don't feel good about itself, is worried, is scared, and that's a normal part of life. We're not robots that we're always going to feel so self-empowered in every single moment, and I can do it, and I never feel anything, and I can push through everything. Like, that's not actually a human being, and that's not what life's actually about. So the balance is learning how to tend to your emotional self, which is fear, stress, worry, etc., seeing that it's there, validating it. I see you. I know that you're there. Soothing it, and then pushing over to that mental side and like feeding that muscle, that like really good muscle. That's why affirmations are really important. But a growth mindset is going to be the thing that's going to help you to kind of like keep pushing you. Like, you want to learn more, like you want to get better, like you don't want to stay stuck here. You don't want to keep doing the same thing over and over again. You're totally comfortable with failing. You don't care how long it takes. You don't care what it takes. You're just going to keep going and going and going, because at the end of the day, you know that, hey, guess what? Whatever I want for myself, I'm actually going to get. Whenever I set a goal for myself in my mind, it's done. Now, there are going to be some goals that are going to be very easy for you because maybe those are the things that you really see yourself worthy of having. And maybe you feel comfortable in that arena of life to take action, and that action is essentially what's going to build your self-confidence. So that area is totally fine. But maybe the other area of life that you're the most wounded in or have a really traumatic experience in is going to be the thing that's going to kind of push you even harder to kind of reinforce those habits of deeming yourself worthy, affirmation, making sure that you're checking that, are you feeding that story of like, it's probably not going to happen, maybe I should dumb down that goal a little bit, or are you just so determined? Determination and self-empowerment, they kind of go hand in hand. Like, you have to be able to be so set on what it is that you want that you don't bargain. There's no bargaining. If I want to go into the store and I want to buy a pink sweater, I'm not settling until I find a pink sweater. Now, if you're really determined, you will go to 5, 6, 10, 20 different stores until you find a pink sweater. So it's the same thing with life. Are you going to bargain, or are you going to just say, I'm determined to have this and I'm not settling until I actually get it? That is an affirmation. That's positive and healthy self-talk. That reinforces that determination. And then I feel self-empowered to go take action towards an area that I really want to go in to achieve that goal. So I hope that you guys have enjoyed this. Again, I will link down below my 9-week course. It is a great course that you 100% will learn a ton of information from, and it will definitely help you to begin healing your wounds, because we talk about every single wound imaginable. We talk about emotional triggers, which is basically, what is an emotional trigger? It's essentially your wound coming up to the forefront. So when your ex-husband says something, your mother says something, your friend says something, this situation happens and it triggers you, that's the wound that you really have to kind of tend to. So we get into that. And of course, in all of my courses, I'm always going to talk about self-parenting. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this. If you did, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, and I will see you next week.